The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host and or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of the host and or Paranormal Buzz Radio and or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is prohibited. Paranormal Buzz Radio will not be held responsible for you holding your knees, crying, and rocking in a corner in a puddle of your own urine, or being beheaded by a group of children in a cornfield. In fact, if you come across a group of children in a cornfield, we promise to make fun of you as you run away screaming in terror. Listener discretion is advised. Caution. You are now entering the all-consuming realm of Shea's Paranormal Chat, where the things that are better left unsaid are actually said.
Shut up and sit down.
You're listening to Shea's Paranormal Chat. Paranormal podcasting done Shea's way. Tons of fun.
Dude, seriously?
A bit sarcastic.
Hashtag investigator, not hunter.
But always real.
Hashtag data, not evidence.
Don't get your panties in a twist.
Oh my god, really?
This is real, raw conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 20 on Paranormal Buzz Radio, Shea's Paranormal Chat with Shea Carroll, the bitch, and the most beautiful Kelly McCarville.
Hang on, now I wear that bitch title like a crown. Don't steal it from me.
You know. The one time I made it a point to tell my friend Toby tonight. I start at exactly 8 p.m. Eastern every Friday. I'm a few minutes late, of course.
It is all good.
You know.
It's what we do.
Yeah. How are you feeling? How are you doing?
I am not going to lie and say that I am 100%, but I am so much better than I was the last 48 hours. I really thought I might die. It was horrible.
I heard you and Charla Wednesday night, and you both sounded sick.
Yeah. And we were talking before the show, and it sounded like we had the same thing. So, it was rough, but you know what? I love doing these. I love talking to people, so I sucked it up, and but I'm feeling better. But I will, full disclaimer, here's my show disclaimer, guys. You will hear me cough. You will probably hear me sniff. Sorry.
Yep. Oh, that's me the past few weeks.
Try not to let you hear it.
I kind of feel bad because the people that I saw at the Manchester Paracon, hunting the haunted Paracon Redemption, they are sick, and the people they have had contact with since then are now sick. And I'm thinking, oh God, I hope it wasn't me.
Well, and I don't even know where I got this, but man, it's a
computer viral virus.
Is that what it is? Because I was fine, and then I was sick, and it was, it was horrible.
Yeah. I just have other medical issues, so I've been sick for a couple months. Not that it makes it any worse, it just drags it out.
Right.
So I'm like, better, worse.
Well, I gave in and went to the doctor, so that should tell everybody how sick I was, because I don't go to the doctor. But the nice part about that is when I do go in, they don't argue with me. They're like, oh yeah, she's sick. Here's some medicine. So he gave me the good stuff. My doctor
knows if I even call. I'm like,
Yep, that's pretty much how it is. So
I got to check chat here because I was so excited about it's a 20th episode. That's pretty cool.
That's a lot. It's gone so fast. It's gone ridiculously fast.
It has. It really has. Oh, look. I was speaking of Toby a few minutes ago. He made it to chat.
Speak of him and he shall come.
Yeah, so I'm going to give some shout-outs here. I do the beginnings. You do the end because she reads better than me, so she does the ending.
I got some book learning.
Yeah, she got a book learning. Of course, we have Matt Waddell, co-owner of the network. We have Mr. Toby Hartford. We have Cynthia, of course. Cynthia, thank you last night for having me on the show. Even though I was in pajamas, not many people would have allowed me on a live Facebook feed in pajamas, but you did. So much
good.
love. We have Mama Pat. We have Miss Kim, of course. We have Kelly. We have Wolf. Kim Purvis, man, let me tell you, 9 times out of 10, that girl is the first one in chat.
I know. She's dedicated and awesome.
Hey, do you know her show is starting next Thursday right here on Paranormal Buzz Radio?
I have heard that, and I am super excited.
Of all people that deserve a podcast, let me tell you, that girl is so dedicated.
And she supports absolutely everybody. So
That's
anybody
why.
who's listening tonight, please jump in and listen to her show and support her, show her some love, because it's going to be a good time.
1000% supports everybody. Facebook live shows, YouTube shows, podcast shows.
Real shows. She's been to our expos. She's she's an awesome person.
Hello,
we like her. We like her.
So this should be interesting. We haven't done, I haven't done a Q&A since you started filling in like November, I think it was.
So yeah, it would have been November.
Yeah, and that's how the show started off, was at least once a month there was going to be no guest to. We have John. Hey, John, thanks for coming in.
Squirrel.
Squirrel, yeah. It's hard to keep up with everything. We have no guests. I'm worse when we have a guest, but we're getting back to the roots of what this show is supposed to be, because yes, I'm crazy. Yes, I like to have fun. Yes, I like to bring out the crazy and fun in the guests, but we're going to start doing at least once a month, no guests, just to communicate with the chatters. And by the way, speaking of that, we need a new name for the chatters, because I keep calling them the chatters, and that's not a great name. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know.
Jen called them something. Parabuzzers?
Yeah, I can't.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember what she called them. We'll have to watch for Jen B to jump in and ask her, because she called them something which was kind of cute, actually. But you guys be thinking what you want us to call you instead of hey you and you guys and huh.
Yeah.
And
so we need a name for the chat people, but we also need, I'm going to put up a poll soon on what to call the once a month shows, because we can't keep calling it Q&A with Kelly and Shea, although that is cute and it rhymes, but we need a name for the episode once a month.
I don't know. We'll have to get creative. Maybe we should run a contest every month and let a listener name the show for us.
There we go. That's a good idea.
That way, we don't have to be creative.
I'm so creative that it flows out me and then it goes away. Like, it comes to a point and it just stops, let me tell you.
This is going to be an awesome show with us both hyped up on cold meds.
Yeah. Coffee, cold meds, and water. No Pepsi. Coffee and water. We have our first question, though.
We do.
It's from Toby Hartford.
You said something, though. Hang on.
What?
You said something, and I was going to say there was something that we needed to say. And now I don't remember. Never mind. I interrupted you for something I can't remember. Go ahead. Pair of peeps. Matt said pair of peeps. Shaders?
Shaders, yeah. That's kind of what I call my haters.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they're not shaders.
I still don't understand how the F I have. See, I didn't do it. I didn't drop it.
Good job. It's still early.
Yeah. I still don't understand how I have haters, or why my opinion is that important to people that they have to send me hate mail, but it happens, man.
I just don't even care anymore. You
Oh,
know,
I don't care anyways. I find it funny to make fun of them on the air or on one of my million pages. Like,
it's exhausting trying to keep people happy. So you know what? If you don't like me, you don't like me. Sorry about that. I mean, I'm not like trying to make people not like me, but it's just exhausting. So, anyways. Oh yeah, she's gonna drop it yet, John. She will.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
early.
I made
Show.
it
We're
through
like
the
10
whole
minutes in.
show. I made it through the whole show last week to the last like 5-10 minutes at the most, and then I dropped it like 15 times.
I'll have to start taking a secret poll before the show starts and let people put their bets in and run like a little gambling ring on how quickly. But we can't let you know because then you'll know and then you'll behave.
Yeah, but it won't stop me. No. See, that's what people think. They're like, if she knows, she'll behave. No. You know, I behave for me and nobody else. If you're taking a bet and I'm in the mood, it's going to happen.
Awesome. All right. Well,
I don't have to be in a bad mood. I also say it for excitement.
No, it's sentence enhancers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with mood. Sentence enhancers. All right. Do we want to get to our first question?
Yes, we should.
All right.
Mr. Toby Hartford, who I love, by the way. I have to say, him and Tony, his wife.
I was going to say, you might want to.
They were on a few weeks ago, or
they were.
It's been a couple months ago now.
I don't think it was that long ago, was it?
I don't know. It was a couple weeks ago they were on.
Like 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah,
I have
okay.
No idea. I have no idea.
So, sometime.
Toby and Tony of Scars.
Yes, Scars. Because remember I kept wanting to say Mars?
Yep. Yeah, I do. I do remember that. All right, so he wanted to know... I should find his actual question instead of paraphrasing it because I only wrote down part of his question.
Hey, you're better than me. I don't write them down. I paraphrase and get them all. I
told you I was going to try to keep track for us, but you saw how well that went. He is asking about what is the most active locations that we have been to?
Do you know offhand?
I know which one had the most energy, but I'm hesitant to call it active. So, for me, by far, the house that had the most energy, the most overwhelming presence of anything was Villisca. And it was ridiculously oppressive. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't spend all the time in there. I had to keep leaving the house and regrounding. And then at the time that the murders actually started, it's very, very intense for me. I don't know that it would be that way for everybody, but for me, it's ridiculously intense because I see it playing out in my head. They're showing me. It's like I'm watching the movie of it happening. So that's been the most intense location I've been to. As far as the most active location I've been to, probably the Mason house still. Yeah. There are so many spirits that are resident spirits there, and they like to interact with people. So it's pretty rare that we go down there that we don't get something happen.
Yeah.
But Malvern Manor is pulling up pretty close behind that. It's getting so almost every time I go there, there's something going on. Yeah.
I'm running statistics in my head, like the number of times I've been to a place and how much activity's been going on, and because the only answer I can come up with, or one of the answers I can come up with, has to do with Toby. So I was trying to come up with something else because I don't want people to think I'm picking that location because it has to do with him. Oh, did we lose sound? Did you mute? All right. She's sneezing. She's muted. So,
oh, and my nosers. Didn't figure you guys wanted to listen.
So, overall, okay. So the place. This is such a hard question. But the place I'm going to pick, and I honestly don't know if it has to do with, because he asked the question, so it comes to mind. But Toby had Nicole and I help out on an event at Parsonsfield Seminary in Parsonsfield, Maine. And so we did the 4-hour investigation part, helping the other people in the basement. And overall, that was the longest amount of activity we've gotten.
Mm-hmm.
It was only a one-time event, but it was definitely quite a bit of activity for that 4 hours. We were there literally overnight, but I'm just talking about that 4 hours in the basement. So,
I have a question that kind of plays off of his.
Yeah.
What place did you go to that you expected to be like overwhelmingly active and like you were just so looking forward to it because everybody talks about how haunted it is, and then it was just a dud? I can tell you my place, and it's what popped into my head. I don't know what you said, but it's what made me think of it. I finally got to go to Waverly Sanitarium in Kentucky, and I had this buildup in my head that this was going to be phenomenally active. If any place was going to be active, that place should be, with all the deaths and all the people and how big, and everybody talks it up. And I expected it to be super energy packed and active.
Yeah.
And it was really, really, really quiet. And I'll be the first one to remind everybody that they don't perform on command. They're not circus monkeys. I get this. I know this, but man, I was disappointed. I drove all the way to Lexington, and I'd hyped it up in my head, and then it was just like, bummer. So now I've got to go back there sometime. But for whatever you'd said, that had popped into my head, so that made me wonder. Do you have a place like that?
Yeah, I don't go in. First of all, even with all the lore and the legends, I don't go into a place. I take everything into account, but I don't necessarily always go to a place believing automatically it's haunted. Just the opposite. And I try to disprove it. But my big place was, I know people love or hate me, and they'll either like this answer or they'll hate it, but S.K. Pierce Mansion, Gardner, Mass. It was one that we've only paid for a couple locations. We don't pay. That's just, we don't do it. So we paid to investigate this place, and nothing happened all night to the last 20 minutes. And the last 20 minutes kind of made up for it, but you literally have to sign, at that point anyways, waivers on that it's haunted, that this can happen, and all the hype around it. I thought if there was a chance that, so it was disappointing compared to what they say out in the public, but at the last 20 minutes, it made up for it. I go into locations keeping in mind what other people say, but it doesn't matter if I go in blind. Like, okay, I know this is what people are saying, but let's just see. So it's hard to be disappointed.
And it still was. It was still an awesome experience. I mean, it was so neat to be able to walk around there and see the history and know what the building was. And oh my God, that place, if you've never been there, it is huge. But I don't know. I just expected to feel more, but that's okay. That's perfectly fine.
That was me too. And we did have some stuff, and it's still on our top 5-6 stuff that have happened. But when you're there for 10, 12 hours and it's the last 20 minutes, I just thought that, I'm trying to keep up with chat, but I'm having trouble, just so everybody knows.
I gotcha. So Kim is asking us, what is our favorite location and why?
My favorite location to this day will still be Madam Shree's Forest, Madam Shree's Castle in West Chesterfield, New Hampshire. But for many reasons, not only because of the paranormal activity, but because it's a beautiful location. Unfortunately, there's a sad story that goes with it, but there is activity there. It's definitely not the most active place I've been to, but it's still my favorite location. Hey, Tim.
My favorite location, I think it has to stay Mason House. It's just, I've been there so many times, and it's my home away from home, and the spirits there are my family, and they never disappoint, and it's just, yeah. So I think that it is always, always, always going to hold a special place in my heart. But I'm really liking Melford Manor lately. They're getting so they know me there too. I don't know. There's not really places that I've been to that I...
Can I piggyback off of this?
Yeah.
Kind of. I don't want anybody to be offended by what I'm about to say, but I wouldn't be me if I didn't say it. And mind you, I do this too, so I really don't mean offense, but it's hard for me to pick my most favorite haunted locations because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, these are souls that are stuck here for some reason, whether they want to be here, not want to be here. So I have that soft spot. As much as people don't believe, I do have a heart. And that sticks in my mind. And when people tell me their experiences, I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's awesome. But yet those aren't the right words to describe it either. It's very hard for me. A very hard balance.
But and this is one of the places that we differ a little bit on our beliefs,
yeah.
But I don't think they're stuck. I mean, the spirits that are at Mason House, yeah, but the spirits that are at Mason House, they're there because they want to be there. They can come and go as they want to, and the time that they decide they're done being there, they won't be there anymore. I know that.
See, I believe that too. I believe some are, but then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about, what about those ones that are stuck?
But in my years of doing this, Shea, I've ran into like one or two of those. I don't think there's nearly as many stuck spirits as people think there are. They may refuse to go through their review period and not be able to move forward to their piece, but that's a choice that spirit's making. So that's a free will choice that they're making on their own. It's not like something else is holding them there. So think of it that way. It's okay, if I haven't left my house in 6 months and you're feeling bad for me because I haven't left my house in 6 months, it's my choice. There's nothing stopping me from leaving my house. I'm choosing not to. Does that kind of make sense?
It does.
I'm not saying in all cases. There are some.
It does. But I'm one of those people that it bugs me not knowing. It bugs me like I got into a conversation about what the difference between shadow people and dark masses are, and I'm like, first of all, we don't know if all shadow people are shadow people. We don't know if they're spirits trying to form and they don't form. We don't know if dark masses are just dark masses. We don't know. So my mind goes round and round and round and round and round. There's like no stopping it. None. So it doesn't help when I'm on a show like this. So
our Waterloo Expo that's coming up the first weekend in March, we have Mike Bricksucker coming as one of our guests.
I know.
Yeah. His topic is shadow people. I am super excited. Yeah. One of the days he'll be speaking on that. So
I love
anyways.
Them.
Yeah.
No, they deserve a special shout out.
Haunted Road
Mike
Media.
Bricksucker, Shayna Wonkel, and Vanessa Fogel.
Yep.
Haunted
awesome
Road
people.
Media, Tuesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. I really love those guys.
They're good people.
Every time we've been on air, something's happened. Together. Seriously, I'm not even joking, but they were good about it. Kate fell and
oh my gosh,
chipped her ankle when I was on air with Vanessa and I had to leave the show. Stuff happened with the show Mike was on, but they were good about it. I do love them.
They're pretty easy going, and they're good people.
I love his. I say his, but it's all theirs. I say his, but most of that they agree on most everything. On shadow people. I really... Yeah.
Yep. All right. So our next question is from Tim, and he's asking, what is the one place you would like to investigate but have not had the chance to do so yet?
One?
I know. It's just narrowing it down to one thing. I don't have a specific location, but I can tell you that I am itching to get into a castle. Castles are always just something that that have drawn me, and it isn't even the grandness of a castle.
Excuse me.
I know this sounds really stupid, but it's the dank, dark stone halls and fireplaces, and it's the castle parts of it that I'm drawn to, and I just desperately want to get into a castle somewhere. I don't even care where, but Ireland or England or something.
The place I love isn't even, it was like a French chateau, and she called it her castle, but it had the structure of the it wasn't brick, it was the mason work.
Yeah, I don't know what type of stone they use for those, but
yeah.
It looks like limestone, but I'm guessing it's probably not.
Yeah. Half of it was burnt down, but I still love it. But Lep Castle in Ireland, that'd be an awesome place. Fun. There's some places out in Massachusetts that are abandoned castles. So, yeah, castle would be awesome.
I would like to get into the Queen Mary, though, too.
I would
always
love
been on
to
my
do
bucket
that,
list.
but the chances of me getting to California are slim to none.
I know. It's so far away.
I did do the USS Salem in Quincy, Massachusetts.
Ooh, I want to go to Salem, too. I have a huge list of places I want to go, but...
I've been to Salem. One of my favorite cemeteries to investigate is in Salem, Massachusetts.
Awesome.
Yeah, so... But, USS Salem's the only place I ever caught a picture of any picture of something that I would call possible paranormal. And I don't mean an orb, I mean like you can see the skeleton outline of something that wasn't there.
Yeah.
So.
I haven't myself caught anything, but I know one of the times that we were down at Mason House and Mama Pat was with me, I think she might have been the one taking the pictures, but she was taking a series of pictures and you could kind of see like this dark shadow coming into it.
Yeah.
And then it just was gone. But the last group event that I arranged and hosted down at Mason House, we had a gal that was down there, and she was with some friends who are from a paranormal group, so she was good about taking a series of pictures. And she caught a picture of what looks like a lady stepping up a step, lifting up her skirt just a little bit to take that step. It's pretty, and I mean, we tried to debunk it. We spent, I don't even know how long trying to debunk that, reshoot it, catch the angle, see if we could recreate it, and we just could not do it. So it was a pretty cool pic. It was pretty cool.
We'll have to exchange pictures because I've never seen that one.
Yeah, I'll have to get it from her because
if you can.
Don't have access to it right now, but I'll be seeing some of those gals next weekend, so I bet I can get a copy again.
Good night, Mallory. I never even said hi to Mallory.
Hi, Mallory. Bye, Mallory.
She's my favorite stepdaughter. She's kind of my only stepdaughter, but she's still my favorite.
So Miss Cynthia wants to know, what is our favorite method of communication with spirits and why?
Well, this kind of goes back to last night. If anybody missed it, catch Raven Rose Paranormal, their live feed. For me, we do use spirit boxes, but that's my least favorite, but we do use it. Hello, Miss Jen B. Anyways, I just like EVP. I like having a conversation, and as I said last night, I try to keep it as normal as possible, and that's my favorite form. Is that the question? Because now I kind of forget the question.
What's our favorite method of communication and why?
Yeah, that would be mine.
My favorite method of communication is me. It's the easiest for me. I mean, honestly, it's the one that I can, and even as I say this, I go, yeah, but you don't trust yourself. It's the one that I can trust the most. You know, I don't have to question, did I really get that message? Because I did get that message, and I know that I did. But I also don't have to listen to all the extra white noise and the jumbles and the extra noise and sound and everything. But Outside of that, I would say probably my favorite tool would be the Spiritus application. And I'm not typically a big one for like the applications on the phones, but this one it's good, and there's no words, so it's not pulling out of any word banks. It's not cycling through radio stations, so it's not picking up words off the radio. You can have your phone on airplane mode, and it still works perfectly. So, if I have to use something besides me, I'd probably say my Spiritus, but
So
I'm
that's another huge place we differ, is the apps.
yeah, but I don't like the spirit boxes. First off, they make me sick, but
Yeah.
I have so much trouble taking it's scanning through radio stations, and radio stations have words, so it's going to catch words, and that's just where my brain goes. Yeah,
that's why I say it's not my favorite to use, but we do use it. But
yeah,
also only, first of all, I don't consider any of this shit. Is my first swear word. It's not the F-bomb, but I don't consider any of this stuff.
You started out the show calling me a bitch.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Second. No, me a bitch, not you. I call myself a bitch.
That is true. That is true. Sorry.
I don't consider it evidence in any shape or form, but...
I don't think there is evidence. We can't prove any of this.
Exactly.
Nobody can prove any of this. There is no proof. And I don't know that there ever will be. It frustrates me. Here's proof. Well, really? Proof? Really proof?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. And people make fun of me because I'm so careful with my words, which I am getting better in the past couple of years on radio. I have gotten better. But,
and I call it evidence because I don't know what else to call it. But
that's the word. That's what I'm getting to is there's lingo now. Ghost hunter.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean what ghost hunter means.
No.
It's more lingo. Evidence. It's more lingo. Like, this is cool. This is what a catchphrase kind of thing, you know? I just collect
here's my
everything that
findings.
happens. Yeah.
Here's what I stumbled across. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm very careful on how I word things.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Other times I'm on the air and I F this and F that. But when it comes to what we experience, I try to be careful.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the best we can chalk any of it up to is these are our experiences.
Yeah.
And I can't prove a bit of it. I know without a shadow of a doubt that what I do is real. I know without a shadow of a doubt, but I can't prove it. Yeah. I cannot prove it. I can blow people's minds, and that should be proof, but it's not. And I cannot prove it. And Vanessa was talking about that one night on some show or in a post, I can't remember where she was talking about it, but that I can state fact after fact after fact that I'm not supposed to know. And that should be proof. But it's not. It's not. And it never will be. And you can show evidence after evidence or finding after finding, and it's still not proof. So it's frustrating. It is very frustrating to me because I would love to be able to prove it. But
it is frustrating. But then again, you also have to take into consideration, and this is just my opinion, I'm not speaking for Kelly. You also have the assholes out there that fake things. Mm-hmm. Or exaggerate things.
Or there's something everywhere they go, and there's a million things that they get every single place they go. No, that's not how this works.
No, it's not. And I've heard that multiple times in the past couple months, that if you don't get something everywhere you go, you're not doing it right. Well, fuck you, buddy, because that's not how it works.
Honey, if you get something everywhere you go, every time you go, you're doing something wrong.
That's exactly. Thank you. Because I've heard that from multiple different people. I'm not talking about one person's in, but all of a sudden, the past 6 months, people like
there's just no guarantee. There's just no guarantee. Right.
You know
I mean, even with the benefits that I have going into places, though, there's been times I've walked in and I'm like, there's just nothing. I got nothing, you know. Anyways, we got off on a tangent. Should we go to the next question?
Yeah, if there is one. I'm so far behind in chat, people.
I'm behind on chat as well, guys, so we're trying to keep up. So Roland asked, Are spirits then transitory? And is it due to some sort of attachment to said place, or can it be spirits love to travel?
Well, before the medium speaks, I believe that it can be both. A spirit can be transient. It can roam in certain areas. It can attach itself to somebody. It can be stuck in a location. It depends on what kind of haunting and why they're there and what they choose to do. And I think there's so many possible explanations that you can't just say one thing. Like, you can't just say, again, my humble opinion, you can't just say it's stuck in that location. Well, if it's stuck, how come it can catch a ride home with somebody? How come it can move to 3 houses down? Or, I think each case, just like each person, as individuals, we're all different. And you can't say the human race is this because of these characteristics, because of this. Just spirit. I think that's half the problem with why we can't prove things, because it's so, each situation, each spirit, each ghost, I believe there's a difference.
Yeah.
I just think it's so different that you can't put your finger on one reason.
I think that it's what's been explained to me is that it's a combination of things. There are some spirits who are not aware that they're able to leave a location because they haven't got to that point of their death process. I don't know how to explain it other than that. So they don't know that they're able to leave, or they choose not to believe, or they simply think that they can't leave. And a great example of that is, so Edinburgh Manor is a well-known location around where I'm from. And I've been out there a lot of times. I know the spirits that are there, and some friends of mine went out there, and he called me and he says, "There's something wrong out here." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "No pun intended, but it is dead quiet." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He says, "There's nothing, Kelly. There's no spirits. We're getting absolutely nothing." He said, well, basically, he was calling me to come out and see what was going on. He's like, "Will you come out?" So I went out, and basically somebody had been in there shortly before they had arrived and told all the spirits that were there that they had to leave, and they listened. So here they're all outside thinking they can't go back in the building, and all it took was me talking to one of them to say, "You can go back inside. Here, come with me." And I took my little creeper friend because he loves me and he trusts me, and I didn't technically take him by the hand, but basically I took him by the hand and we went inside. And as soon as he went inside, the rest of the spirits were like, "Oh, okay, well, we can go inside now." And they all came back inside, but they believed because they were told that they couldn't go back in the building, so they didn't.
Everybody knows I have issues with that. So
I was hot. I was furious.
If it's not a demon, and it's not a negative entity, for lack of a better word, I use, anybody that does not know me that's listening for the first time, I use the word entity when I don't know what to call it. So my entity could be anything. If you have a negative entity that is hurting people, or a demon, which is not, anyways, I don't know how to word that one either. You don't have, unless it's hurting somebody, you don't have the right to remove it. They were there.
Right. That's their home.
It's their home.
That's their home. And kind of to answer Roland's question too, not all spirits are there because they're attached to the building or even necessarily something that's in the building. Some of them are. Some of them are there because that was their home. Some of them are there because that's what they knew. Some of them are there because a relative lives there. Yeah. But some of them, how they find it, I don't know. But some of them will find a location and choose to stay there. And remember me talking to Jeff when we were out at Malvern last time? That's Jeff. I don't know how he found Malvern. He still has never explained to me how he got there, but he's new to Malvern. He was never there before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know how he got there. We don't know where he's from, but he is new to Melbourne and he likes it there and he'd like to stay. So I think he probably will. How he found it, don't know. Eventually, I hope he'll tell me because I'm curious. But there's spirits that are down at the Mason house that they were never there. But I think places that are open to things like that or have a lot of spiritual activity, if we look different, if someone with abilities looks different, imagine what a place that's open to that energy or has a lot of spirit activity there looks like to them.
I call it the lighthouse, the beacon.
Yeah, maybe they're drawn to the beacon as the location as well. So hard to say. Mm-hmm. These are all ongoing questions.
These are all theories that I wrestle with. Really.
Right. So Roland again is asking, who are your favorite spirits you've communicated with and why?
I'll go first because mine will be quick. I don't know that I've ever... None. None. I don't think I've ever gotten enough information to say that it's a spirit of John Smith, Jane Doe, enough to classify it as that. So,
my favorite is probably going to be Marky. And he is a 15-year-old Confederate soldier who was wounded, and he was being transported up the Des Moines River to try to get to the Keokuk Hospital, and he wasn't going to make it, so they stopped at the Mason house and took him in there, and that's where he passed away. He was an example of a stuck spirit because he didn't realize when he was before he passed away, he was going in and out of consciousness. Yeah. So he was never really sure when he was awake or when he was dreaming. And when he died, he didn't realize. He thought he was still just waking up and dreaming. But he knows now, and he's fine, and he's there because he wants to be. But he's such a good guy. And for 15, he's just a good person. And he cracks me up because he took a liking to me and he kind of attached himself to me. And I suppose that's a little bit of the soft spot too, because he doesn't talk to a lot of people. He's pretty introverted, but he likes me. But he'll come and he'll find me at other locations. We've talked about hitchhikers or transients. He'll come and find me and talk to me at different places, and he's always the first one when I get down to Mason House to say hi, and so he's one of my favorites.
See, I've never had that experience as many times as I've been to certain places, or it's also I'm kind of skeptical, so even if there is coincidences and it could be the same spirit, I won't believe it because there's no proof of it. I'm not a medium, I'm not a psychic, I don't have that connection. And
I have an unfair advantage. Yeah. Definitely.
Not unfair.
No, it's a little unfair. But I don't know. I mean, I connect to spirits at different places. You know, Edinburgh that we were talking about, there's a little boy out in the cafeteria in the basement that I connected to, and I love to talk to him. And at Renwick Manor, there was a house servant there that I connected with. And I've made a connection with not only Jeff, but the shadow guy at Malvern. And I don't know, if you go to a place multiple times and you are able to see them, hear them, talk to them like I can, then you kind of get so you know them.
We've gotten the same responses at locations that we've done multiple times, but in my mind, I can't see or hear their voices, so I don't know that it's the same one.
Yeah.
This question, I think I might be skipping the line here. If I missed any questions, I'm sorry. But Maureen has a question.
She's the next one. You're good.
And this is all you. This question's all for you because I'm going to read the question. I'll give my short reason of why this is all for you. How do you guys deal with portals or vortexes if you find them at a location? I do not necessarily believe in portals or vortexes, and that is why I do not discuss them on shows. I'm not saying I don't believe, I just don't really quite believe either.
I think I'm going to shock you then, because I don't know that I do either.
Oh my God! No way! Really? I really thought you were going to give me shit for this.
No. I think that there are locations that are higher energy locations.
Yes, I
and
agree
that
with that.
because the energy is higher, it is maybe easier for a spirit to be able to communicate in that location. But I can walk in. So being an energy worker, I can walk into places and I can say, "Ooh, this spot has more energy right here." If that's what they want to call a portal, okay.
Wouldn't that be more of a vortex, an energy vortex?
See, I don't know. But okay, but let's think about this for a second, because and I posed this question to a scientist once, a scientific mind, and I got a blank stare back. If a portal is where a ghost can come through or a spirit can come through to speak to you, does that make me a portal? Because they can talk to me anywhere.
Kind of. I would believe in that type of portal more than, or are they already there and you're just, they're not
right.
coming.
I almost think of like a portal or a vortex as basically a window. And you have to open the window to be able to talk. But that window can go, it's like your car window. It's going to go where your car goes, Yeah. So it's not necessarily in one particular spot.
Me too,
although I think, again, if you get a location that is more active and has more energy, and that vibration of the location changes, or it shines like a beacon or a lighthouse to the spirits, then you're going to have more spirits that show up there, and you're going to have more spirits that come through, and that's probably what gives people that impression that there's a portal or a vortex. And maybe that's all it is. Maybe that is the definition of a portal. I don't know. I definitely don't know that I have ever come across one that I thought, oh my gosh, I have to close this down. I've never encountered that myself. Now, again, I'm going to say the same thing that Shea did. I'm not discounting that they're real. I'm not saying that anybody who has felt them or experienced them is wrong. It's just what I've experienced. So, and I think that the question that I asked is really what kind of got me thinking about it, because if a portal is where a spirit can come through to communicate, that makes me a portal.
See, I always look at it as a portal is that opening. Let's picture a door. And that door is a portal. Open, close, that they can come through. Where vortex, people mean, it's just enough energy for people to temporarily. I don't know.
I'm gonna interrupt for just a second here.
Yeah.
So, Pat, you're in trouble. We're going down there next weekend. You called him a child. I will tell him. Marky does not like being called a child. He's 15, so I tend to call him a kid because 15 is a kid. He will correct you every time you call him a child. I am a man. But also, Roland, I see your comment there, but I'm not sure what you're saying you disagree with. So can you clarify for us so we'll try to address.
Sorry, my chat closed. I got so wrapped up. This is why
you're fine.
I think so much that I don't pay attention.
He was saying, I disagree because I still believe that spirits are still human, and by human nature, we are social. When we can connect, we get attached, and I feel spirits are the same, but that's my opinion. So I'm just not sure.
Was it about my spirits and ghosts are different?
I don't know. Right. That's what I was asking him to clarify. So hopefully Roland's still on here and he can clarify for us.
Well, Cynthia is, so even if Roland's not, Cynthia can ask him what he
She usually can decipher what he's saying.
Yeah.
Kim's saying, I've all wonder if some of the spirits are more active because they want you to know their story. What do you think?
This goes back to, this is why I love this field, because my mind goes round and round. I think some are more active because they want you to know. I think some are more active because they're able to. I could go on and on. I think, again, just like every living person is different. Every spirit / ghost could be different.
Yeah.
And what they're allowed to do, what they can do, what they want to do, if they still have some form of free will.
Mm-hmm. And they do.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a mixture of things, Kim, is what I've experienced, at least. In some cases, like Roland said, they're still human and they still have their human nature. So they still go through their human routines. So if a spirit's back in a house because they loved the house and they just want to continue to non-live there, I don't know what you want to call it, but they want to still reside there, they may just be going about their daily activities, and oops, we run into them. Oops, we hear them walking. Oops, we hear this noise. They don't mean to necessarily have us interact with them at that case, but we do because they're doing their thing.
Do you consider that residual? Or
no, not,
intelligent can also?
It can be both. It can absolutely be both. But there are times, too, what Shea said is absolutely true. Their spirits will have different levels of energy. They're different strengths, And it doesn't necessarily have anything to do. I used to think that maybe it had to do with how long they'd been passed over. If they'd been dead longer, they were stronger, and that's not the case. Sometimes I'll meet ones that haven't been gone very long, and they're super strong. And I think it's just how quickly were they able to get through that review process, and how strong are their beliefs of being able to communicate. And there's so many factors of it, but the spirits can have different energy levels, and if they're stronger, it's easier for them to interact with us. But absolutely, they like to share their stories. They like to be known. It's the same as us. If you think about if we were walking around our house and there was another family living in our house with us and they just ignored us all the time. Yeah. And finally, one of them stopped and said, "Is there somebody here?" Wouldn't you go, "Oh my God, yes, I'm here. I've been trying to talk to you,"
Yeah.
Yeah. So once they figure out that we're trying to talk to them, absolutely they try to communicate with us.
How about the ones that are trying to communicate with us and we pick up a word? They could have said a whole story, and it's on us because we couldn't hear the whole story. We picked up that one word. Doesn't necessarily mean they're not trying to communicate with us. Goes back to
strength and practice. And
that's why I love this, because I could go round and round and round on what if, because we don't know. Well, you're a medium, so you know a little bit more than me, but
that does go back to where you've heard me say a million times. You almost need to have on a paranormal team your science with your tools and a sensitive, because that's the only way that you're going to get the whole story. Or as much of the story as you're able to get.
If you move to New Hampshire, you can join my team.
There you go.
Until then, I might hold out, but
but because when I'm out and I'm with the teams that are doing the science side of it, they'll get a few words through their devices, and I can fill in the rest of it with what they're telling me. Or I can say part of what they're saying, and they'll finish it on the devices. So you put the two of them together to get that whole story, And sometimes I really have to pay attention when I'm on site, because it'll be like I'm getting a whole sentence, but it's going back and forth in words between the two of them. So otherwise it's like I, there, and, and so it's not a complete sentence from here or here, but when I merge it together, there's a whole sentence. So it's
interesting.
It's frustrating. Gives me a headache sometimes. But, I think once they know that we can talk to them, and I've seen this a lot, and actually you'll hear it on the Spiritist a lot, that they're like, they can hear us. They're listening. They can hear us. Like, fascinated that they can talk to us. And then they start talking. So yeah, I think they do like to share their stories. Wouldn't you if you hadn't talked to anybody really for years?
Me? No. But most people, yes.
Oh,
here we go. Cynthia's trying to get me going. I'm being so good on this show tonight.
Oh. Okay. Oh, yeah. The favorite spirits, absolutely. They connect to people because they like the people as much as we like them. Marky was drawn to me. I don't know why.
Oh, I meant the next one, not this comment. Sorry, I missed
was
one in
reading
between.
your comments.
Sorry.
Yep. I was answering an unsaid question, but
yeah, I missed this one though, so I didn't want her to think I was making fun of her for this question.
Oh, Cynthia, you're a troublemaker.
Yep.
Oh, Cynthia. Oh, go ahead, Shay.
All right, here's the question, peeps. And before I answer this, because it's going to be a long-winded answer, I'm going to say hi to Skydoor Network, which I believe is Kelly. I could be wrong. Hello, Kelly. If not Kelly, let us know who you are. Here's Cynthia's question. What do the two of you think about the whole trend of everything is negative and evil in the field right now? I say it's fucking bullshit. There is my first F-bomb. It won't be my last. Probably not even in the next couple sentences. I don't even know where to begin on this because most of the time, if you couldn't communicate, picture, I'm trying to be politically correct here and try to get my point across, and I do that poorly. Picture an autistic child, which I know many of, some in my family, that cannot communicate. They get mad. They lash out. Well, what about these spirits that are trying to communicate? They can't. They lash out. They're trying to get your attention. So sometimes shit happens and you get scratched. You get bumped. You get your ass slapped. Not because they're demonic or demon.
Right.
Demon, as Roland says.
We are never going to think of that the same. Damn it, Roland.
Yeah. It doesn't mean it's a demon. It doesn't mean it's negative. But if that's how it gets your attention, or my biggest thing is, if you're an asshole in life, there's a pretty good chance. Thank you. There's a pretty good chance you're going to be an asshole in death. So, but it doesn't make it negative. It just makes you an asshole. I'm a bitch.
But there's so much truth to what you're saying, though, Shay, because if a 3-year-old, when they may come up and they just mean to tap you to get your attention, but they don't understand how hard they're hitting you.
Yeah.
And if
if you're going, Kelly can see me, you guys can't. If a spirit is like tapping you, tapping you 6, 7, 8, 9 times, and it's not working, of course they're going to be like, whack. And you feel that. You're thinking, oh my God, it's a negative entity. It's a demon.
And if they're so used to putting their hand out and going through something, and they think they're going to go through it, and all of a sudden, oops, that thing's solid. Well, yeah, they may give you a shove. They don't mean to. And, all of these scratches and bruises and blah, I cannot even tell you how many times I come home from investigations and I have scratches and bruises. You know why? Because I'm walking around in the damn dark, climbing up and down off the floor, carrying heavy equipment, walking into things. Who knows what I've done? I've never once jumped to, ooh, I got wounded, I got scratched, I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm sure that it can. But unless you know 100%, I've got bruises on my leg right now. Yeah. I don't know where they came from for sure. I'm pretty sure it's because I was like full body wading into the snowblower to try to push it through the snow. But that's besides the point.
I think maybe twice. And my sister Nicole's busy tonight, or else she'd be in chat jumping all over me with the wrong statistics. A couple times, because I'm old, my memory doesn't work. A couple times I literally have been standing there and like you feel that jab and then it's like, okay, it's burning. But I still don't chalk it up to necessarily paranormal unless I were to get something on it. If he's saying, hey, I just cut you, then, I'd be like,
Right. Well, but even then, so like, again, Mason House, there was a situation where the owner, Joy, was up. I think she said she was standing on a bed. I can't remember what she said she was standing on, but cleaning something over her head. And all of a sudden she kind of got shoved. And she could have gone to, oh my God, it's a demon and they're trying to hurt me. Well, somebody fessed up through the communication devices, and she can actually communicate as well, and basically had said, I just meant to get your attention. I didn't mean to shove you. I'm sorry. You know, they didn't mean to. It's just oops, that was a little too hard. I've done it to my kids before. I've reached out to smack them for something just playfully, and I've connected. It's like, oh, oops. Yeah. So,
I did it once and broke my poor daughter's heart.
Oh.
I'm one of those people, and I know the chat is going so quick I can't keep up.
It's okay, I'm trying.
Between the two of us, we're doing pretty good because it's quite
busy. I know,
busy.
right?
It's quite busy. I'm one of those people that if one thing happens, okay. If two things happen, okay, well, that's kind of cool. It could be a coincidence. 3 things happen, you get my attention. But you can tell, like, I'm like, hey, guys, on my videos. Hey, guys, this is interesting. What do you think of this? Versus, hey, we got this on the spirit box while we felt this, while we saw this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's different levels. I'm too cautious.
Right.
Believe it or not.
Right.
I don't mind.
Are we ready to move on?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Quick. Save me.
So, Roland is asking, we dealt with a spirit that refused to speak to Cynthia but would speak with me, though I'm not a medium, because of the generation he was raised in. Do you think that their belief does carry over prejudices, bias, and traditional beliefs? And then Pat actually responded right after that and said, ask about Dora. It's a good example. And yeah, Dora is one of the places I was going to go with that too. So do you want to answer or do you want me to go ahead?
I kind of said something about this last night too. Yes, again, if you're an asshole in life, those traditions are going to carry on. And if I can't speak to this certain situation because I wasn't there, but if you're an asshole and you think women are below you, after you die, you might not necessarily want to speak to a woman.
Right. And there is truth to that. I think that their personalities don't change. You know, asshole in life, asshole in death, super friendly in life, super friendly in death. So if it was an age where a man didn't speak to a woman, then he's not going to be very encouraged to speak to Cynthia. He's going to want to speak to you. Children are drawn to mother figures more often, you know. Dora.
I get so sad dealing with child spirits.
I get kids all the time. But so Dora is from the Granger house here in Marion. And that's Sarah Hyatt that we had on the show.
Yep.
And so Dora was the matriarch of the house, and I knew when I went to this, I've been to the Granger house multiple times, and I knew when I was there, I always just tried to keep it looking nice and everything picked up and tidy and everything, and it never really struck me as anything abnormal. I'm in this pretty old museum house, and I wanted to keep it nice, you know, but I went there for the first actual paranormal thing, and Sarah is sitting at the table. And I go in and I start doing my thing and putting everything away. But I'm like going around behind people, cleaning up after them, pushing chairs up to the table, straightening it up to the table because it wasn't quite straight on the table, you know. And Sarah's just getting this smirk on her face, bigger and bigger and bigger. She's like, Dora's getting to you, isn't she? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, Dora was a neat freak. Everything had to be perfect in her house. And I'm like, you know, this is over the top for me, like over the top, needing to fix things. Like last time I was there, they have a display case that's got some old bottles in it, like medicine bottles or something. One of them has fallen over, drove me bunk. I mean, I was drawn to it the second I walked in the house. Like, do you see that's knocked over? And I was trying to figure out how to get into the case to fix it, and it's actually all screwed together. Adam told me, because I pointed it out to Adam, and I told him, I'm like, we need to fix this. He's like, oh yeah, but I got to tear the entire thing apart. But that personality of hers would pick up on me, would rub off on me. But like, she has her mindsets of what a female role is and how they're supposed to be. So I already had a strike against me walking in there the very first time because I was not in a dress. Women wear dresses. And she wasn't, I mean, she's not rude about it, but she's just kind of like, well, that's interesting, like where? I'm like, oh, well, see, but we don't wear skirts today.
Like, she was rude but proper at the same time.
Properly rude, yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, like, we were going from the main house out to the carriage house, and halfway back, there's these steps that you'd use to get up into the carriages. And she's walking with me as we're walking back to the carriage house, and she stops at those steps. And I realized she'd stopped, so I kind of stopped, and I looked at her, and she says, a lady stops right here. And I'm like, but we're going to the carriage house. And she says, a lady stops right here. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the carriage house. So she held her ground, and she gave me that look that this isn't proper, and I did my thing, and but it's just, yeah, absolutely, they can retain those prejudices, those biases, those traditional beliefs. There's spirits that they like to touch the ladies when they were alive, and they still like to touch the ladies now that they passed.
Touchy-feely, yeah.
I've had that too. So yeah, absolutely, it can carry over. But even beyond that, I would say that a spirit can choose who they want to communicate with. If Cynthia and I are both in the same room, and I'm picking Cynthia because I know she can kind of talk to him too, they may choose to talk to her or choose to talk to me, and we can be standing right next to each other, but only one of us is going to hear that spirit because that's who they chose to talk to. That's who they chose to connect their energy with. So yeah, absolutely, they can make those choices.
Yeah.
That was a long-winded answer.
But I liked it. It was a good answer.
Who is Dora other than the explorer? Okay.
Backpack.
Da.
I like the next. If we're caught up, I like the next question.
From Roland again?
Yeah.
Okay, so Roland's asking, but then don't you think that the idea of being dead would change one's attitude? If I died, the idea of being punished for being an ass, I'd change my attitude.
Me as a non-medium, can I go first?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a better...
Yeah.
You might know and see things I don't know. I have, again, I know, I always have multiple answers. But that's because I'm not 100%. But, again... I'm
intrigued.
I am trying to be politically correct.
I can see her struggling with her words, guys.
I'm Catholic. For better or worse, I'm a Christian. So my beliefs are Christian based. Doesn't take away from what you guys believe, but that's what I believe. So I believe in a heaven. So that's where I think some of my opinions come from, like the difference between a spirit and a ghost. And I know my OCD kicks in, and it's a big deal for me, but I really think there's a difference between a spirit and a ghost. And in my mind, a ghost is somebody that has not crossed over yet. They're kind of stuck here for whatever the hell the reason. They're stuck here. A spirit is somebody that has crossed over, but is back for whatever the hell reason they're back. Whether they choose to, that's a different. So, in my mind, if somebody is stuck here, they might still be the same exact way. Not always, but again, they might still have those human traits. Whereas if a spirit has crossed over and come back, or a spirit guide, once they cross over, they come back, they lose those human. So if I'm having trouble here, but I know my train of thought. If they suffered from multiple sclerosis, if they suffered from autism when they were alive, once they cross over and are allowed to come back, that those physical ailments are gone, where if you haven't crossed over yet, there's still a good chance you're stuck with those for now, at least. Right. Am I making any sense? Because I know what I mean in my head, but I can't get it out.
I think I'm following what you're saying, and I think you had me up until the last little bit where you said if they have like autism, they still have autism.
I said could. They could still have some of the traits.
And they can be, and that's a good example of that would be like the shadow man at Malvern, who still functions lower than a grown man, or the creeper out at Edinburgh. He still functions as a mentally challenged man, you know. A lot of this can be summed up by free will and
I agree with that too.
Understanding of that review process. And so
that's why I always say if and but and because I don't agree
this is just
in one thing.
Again, I don't know this for sure. This is just my truth, my understanding, kind of the things that I've learned from asking them questions.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't see anything wrong with being an asshole. So why would they choose to change themselves? If they went through that review cycle and they thought, man, I was a horrible, rotten, miserable person. I don't want to be that way anymore. Just because they were an asshole in life doesn't mean they have to be an asshole in death. It just means they could be.
See, the difference for me is the review process, I guess, in my mind is what happens when you start the next level. And if you're just kind of stuck here, that's what you're still doing. So until...
And the way it's been explained to me is that review process is what gets them to... That's what I would say is considered crossing over. What people call crossing over. They've got to go through that review period and see what went well, what didn't go well, what did they learn, what didn't they learn. When they get through that review period and they become enlightened, that's what I assume everybody is calling heaven. It's their peace. They find their peace.
I'm in the same place with you. Yeah.
So I think we say the same things. We just call it different things.
That's a problem in the paranormal world, though.
It's a problem in the spiritual world too, in the metaphysical world. So many people get different labels, and they're like, "We think different things." No, we think the same things. We just got different names.
It different, honey.
Tomato. Yeah. But they could go through that review period and go, oh my God, I was a horrible, horrible person. I don't want to do that anymore. You know, or maybe Dora, for example, Neat Freak Dora, went through her life just being, or let's assume that she wasn't Dora. I'm not saying this, and this is going to irritate her in so many ways. Let's just assume that Dora was a raging bitch. Sorry. She doesn't like swearing. But let's assume that she was about this cleaning, and she just was horrible with everybody. And she went through this review period and thought, you know what?
She says hi.
Hi, Kate.
Hi.
Maybe she went through the review period and figured out it really is not that big of a deal. So she's reached that point of her review and her piece and said, I'm good. I'm not going to focus on that so much anymore. Well, she obviously went through her review period and decided it wasn't such a big deal. So...
or she just didn't care, yeah.
She thinks she was doing it right, which I'm not saying that she was doing it wrong. She wasn't hurting anybody. So, yeah. I don't know. That's,
now I'm behind again, sorry.
So it could change their attitudes, but it doesn't necessarily change their attitudes, but that is a free will choice. I think most people forget that even in spirit form, you have free will, absolutely. So the next,
you're just so much better spoken than me.
I've answered these questions before.
I'm thinking, but I'm already, as I'm about to answer a question, I'm already thinking of other possibilities. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I don't have one set belief systems for all of this.
And I don't know. I'm just going based off of what they've told me. And again, I've got this unfair advantage that I can ask them questions. You know, I can
hear
say,
voices,
well, what about
but they're
this? What
in my
about that?
head, in my shrink said. No, I'm kidding, people.
But your shrink may be wrong, because I hear voices in my head too. You know, I just had to decipher which ones were mine and which ones were not mine. And now I know. But at first, I thought maybe I was crazy, so...
Yeah, but you've been dealing with this for a long time. I was just being a smart ass trying to...
Well, but no, there's absolute truth to that. When it first started, I just thought I was really crazy, and it was hard. But
I don't hear voices, and I'm still crazy, so... I'm sorry, I'm having a coughing fit. Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine. I got this if you need a sec. So the next question that we had was from Roland, and he's saying, can I be a perv? Yep, you're fine. Can a ghost be a perv, follow someone home, I'm guessing, that says just to creep on a medium. Yes to both of those questions. So if you remember me saying that there's a spirit that likes the women, likes to touch the women, and I think you may have heard this story before, but we were down at Mason House, and we were doing an investigation, and I was laying on the big bed in room 5, and I had my cell phone and a digital recorder. And as any big-breasted gal does, I use my chest as my shelf. And so I'm laying there, and I had set the cell phone on one part of my chest.
I use my ass that way, so I guess yeah.
I'd set my cell phone on my chest, and I'd set the digital recorder on my chest. And I'd been laying there for just a little bit, and I felt my cell phone slide from, like, my sternum down to the side to, like, where my bra strap would be. And I'm like, ooh, I dropped my phone. So I'm trying not to move. I'm feeling around on the bed beside me to try to find my phone, and I cannot find where it fell. And I'm like, what the hell? Where did my phone go? So I turn a little. I tip my body finally to try to find my phone, and I feel my cell phone slide off my chest. It was not my phone that had gone from my sternum rounding my breast down to my side. It was something entirely different that had just caressed my breasts. And it's like, okay then. Now, I don't know that I've ever had one follow me home just so they can be a creepy stalker pervert, but yeah, Shea and I have talked about this before, that we get hitchhikers sometime that just will follow us home because they like us, or will come to visit. Marky, like I was saying, will come sometimes just to tell me things. He'll tell me what he needs to, and he usually goes away.
Dude, I'm not a medium. It happened once, and I'd be happy if it never happened again. And it wasn't even a bad experience. I experienced it. It's over, and I'll be happy because it just blew my mind.
But for this one, it's like a friend stopped over to tell me something about a place that I love, and I'm like, oh,
it's different.
Yeah. If it was a stranger spirit, if it was a spirit that I didn't know, then I probably wouldn't be nearly as comfortable with the spirit just popping in and going, hey.
We were stuck in the car with this. I call it a hitchhiker. That's my word. It left. Came with us. We were stuck in the car for hour and 20 minutes with this thing, with everything going crazy. I mean, I've never gotten so many fucks as an EVP as we did that day. Mm-hmm. But the funniest part of the whole thing is once I opened the car door, because we were in my driveway for a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and it was still going on. But once I opened that car door, it was gone. Nothing happened ever again. Boom, it left. So.
Oh. Jen B is picking on you. She's like, Shea isn't being a smartass. She isn't just being a smartass. She is a smartass. And then she's saying that they hang out in public restrooms all the time.
She tells me that a lot. Both. That I'm a smartass
and they could. And again, this may have to be maybe part of the reason that I don't have a problem with that is you guys have to keep in mind when I opened up my mediumship door, I am a control freak. For those of you that know me in person, I am a control freak. And I did not want to be a medium because I didn't want to be Teresa Caputo, who had people talking to you all the time and you couldn't control when they came and where they came and what they were saying. I didn't want people showing up when I was taking a goddamn shower, And so I've got pretty strict rules in place about when they can come and talk to me. And my spirit guide is my bouncer. She doesn't let people through. So put her in guard, and my bubble, my protection bubble that I've got up around me all the time. I'm pretty well protected most of the time. But I did have one time that they got through in the shower. I do psychic parties for people where I'll go to their house or to a location for a group of people and do like a gallery or do individual readings or whatever. But I'd read for this group of ladies once, and they were having me back for a second time to do it. And so I was in the shower and I was getting ready to go, and all I did was think, well, I wonder who's going to come through for them this time. And there's this deep male voice that goes, well, I'm going to be there. I'm like, whoa, dude, boundaries. No. Like, this is off limits. Go away.
I had one question that just led to 15. I'm not even lying. My mind just went boom, 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 boom to the point where I forgot most of the questions. Is that because you're a medium? Or do you think that I tend to think there's probably spirits all around us. We just, me as a non-medium. I don't know it, but I think there's some kind of...
I think in that situation, what happened is because I
You're
had
the medium, right?
Well, and because I am a medium, but I thought about them. I thought about the
But they're
people
not
that I was
just hanging out in the bathroom because it's a
Well,
bathroom.
no, but I kind of put that little energy feeler out there just by having the thought, and he
Yeah.
grasped onto it and came back and said, "Woohoo, I'm going to be there." And he did have this wicked little smart ass tone to
sucker,
it. Yeah, just kind of
here
like,
I
I'm
am.
going to get there was he knew damn well what he was doing. He knew damn well what he was doing because there was a smart ass attitude behind his answer. It's like, you jerk. And I still to this day, I don't know who it was. He didn't come through when I went to the party, so I don't know who he was.
You
but I'm
probably
like,
scared him, being like, no, get out.
right? Because I did get a little, yeah. It got a little strong worded. So they can take me by surprise. They absolutely can take me by surprise. And I don't always feel them until they're there. And when I was out at Edinburgh this last time, I can usually feel when a spirit enters the room. But if I'm focused on something else, I may not necessarily feel them. So we're all standing looking down this hallway into where there's a pool table because we're hearing noises coming from down in that end of the building. And so we're just trying to hear, is there a logical explanation? Is there something there? And so we're focused on that. And all of a sudden, I hear in my ear, like literally right next to my head, what are we looking at? I about wet myself because it was one of the spirits who had walked up beside me, and he was standing there beside me looking down the hallway, and he kind of spoke right in my ear. What are we looking at? I'm like, don't do that. Announce yourself.
I experienced that in November at Laconia, that it was it was whispered, so it was soft, but it was so in my ear that I could feel it on my eardrum. Like, does that mean,
those voices that vibrate your eardrums? Yep.
It's the only time that's ever happened. I'm like, and you can hear me. I'm not releasing it, but you can hear me saying, this isn't going to make sense. But not only did I hear that, but I could physically feel the air on my eardrum in it.
Yep. Yeah. Because they're there.
We have about 10 minutes, guys. I see more questions come in. I told Kelly this would only be an hour show since we're both sick, and she said, we'll see how that goes.
I called that one, didn't I?
Yeah. I didn't think we'd have so many questions.
So Cynthia is asking, why do you think places like schools and things are or can be haunted?
We're either going to have the same opinion or totally different here. I love this.
Do you want to go first?
I don't care. I can, because I don't have the advantage of being, in my mind. What I have come to is, number one, sometimes people are seldomly, but if that happens to be that child's favorite place or that person's favorite place, that could be a possibility. Most of the time, same as cemeteries, even more.
Yep.
I think it's the land that the cemeteries are on, not the people buried there. Whatever was there before the cemetery. You tear down a house, the spirits
absolutely.
have nowhere to go. They're still on the land. So that's
they still see the house that's there that you tore down.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. I agree. I do. I think sometimes they're there. They'll go back to school or they'll go back to a building because that's where they were happiest.
Yes.
Not necessarily where they passed away. We're pretty positive the house that I grew up in, the guy that lived there for the longest period of time, I think, he just loved the house to the point that even after he sold it to my mom and dad, he would just come over to visit, and he'd say he was coming to visit my mom and dad, but he was coming to visit the house because he loved the house. And when he passed away, we're sure he was there because all of a sudden, here's a new energy in the house, and it felt like him. So, he went back to the place that made him happiest or that he had good memories. And that's important to note, too, that they can go back to whatever age they want to be, too. They don't necessarily have to be the age they were when they passed away. So if I was happiest right now at my whatever anniversary I'm on in my 29th year.
21.
Yeah. No, shush, I am not. this is where I'll come back to, regardless of when I actually pass away, you know? So yeah, it doesn't necessarily, and it could be that, again, the school wasn't there. It could be, you know, a Native American. I went to a friend's house. She was renting a house, and every night she kept kind of seeing a shadow, and it was a residual thing. But she was confused because it was walking from a place where there was nothing into where her water furnace heater was. And I'm like, that's because the house wasn't here when he was walking that path. Yeah. That's a Native American. There was nothing here when he was walking that, you know. So it could be that it has nothing to do with the building, that's the land, like Shea was saying. So absolutely they can. I don't know that they always are as hyped up as people make them be, but they make good locations for haunted events. So we'll throw that out there. But I've been to ones that activity.
One of us is losing internet. Is it you or me?
I don't know, because my light just came
up.
Now
you're back. Wow, you're loud. Hello.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Just my computer just did really weird things.
All right. Yeah, you were like really mumbled and breaking in and out there, but you're back.
All of a sudden, my camera's all lit up. Ooh.
Yeah.
I don't think that normally glows.
No.
Okay, sorry. Technology is my friend. So Roland is saying that he agrees with me about the balance for a team, scientist, skeptic, and a medium. If a new team is looking for a medium, how do they not fall into hiring a grifter? I'm not sure what a grifter is, but I'm assuming he means how do you make sure that you have a legitimate person with real abilities. I'm assuming that's what that means. Assume.
It's like Massachusetts, a grifter is somebody that comes and goes, and a street person that doesn't really have
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm assuming that's what that means.
I'm assuming you're right, but I'm just saying. You got to be careful with my Massachusetts ears.
Grifter, Pat, Encyclopedia Pat is telling me grifter equals scammer.
Yeah, see? That's
so,
okay. Thank you, Mama Pat.
Right? Sometimes she's fun. You know, I think that, and I know this sounds absolutely stupid to say this, but I am going to say this. The first thing you want to do is trust your gut. Before you even give anybody an opportunity, how does that person feel to you? If they make you go, ew, then they're probably not a good person. You know, and I hate to say rule out somebody just by that, but
it can be they're not a good fit for you either. But
right.
I 100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah, don't disregard your gut feelings about people, but don't be afraid to try them out. You know, I mean, it can definitely be a situation where you take someone with you multiple times on investigations to see how they work. Does their style work with yours? Because, honey, this goes the other way too. As the sensitive, I'm going to make sure that the science people that I'm working with are people that I want to work with as well, and aren't the, oh my God, there's a demon everywhere, or everything is something, you know. So, I mean, you've got to find that good fit. There's got to be this meld of personalities besides the skills. So,
it's
never hide. It is a tool on both sides.
Whether I as a paranormal investigator, whether it's a teammate, I'm looking for a paranormal investigator, whether I'm looking for a medium, and that person, whether they're a medium or an investigator, are looking for some. They're still tools. You got to kind of look at them as tools, because you can like somebody and still not work with them, but you still have to figure out.
Right, but any tool. So think of it like a tool, because that's a great example. You may pick up this type of a wrench, and it's going to do what it needs to do, but it's just not comfortable in your hand. Where if you pick up,
it doesn't work for
right. But a golf club, if a lefty picks up a right-handed golf club, it'll hit the ball, but it's not going to do what it's supposed to. You need your left-handed golf club to make it do what it's supposed to do. You've got to find the right fit for you. So I think regardless of whether you're looking for a science person, a skeptic person, an intuitive person to join your team, never put someone on the team without having those trial runs first. Go out.
How long do you say? Because I haven't been through this, but
I think
would
it
say at least
depends.
3 months. I mean, you got to make sure that this is a
I don't
permanent.
think it's a time frame nearly as much as it's an experiences. Because if you only go once in that 3 months, that's still not a good feel. You know,
Well,
it's got to
yeah.
be multiple experiences in different situations, because in a residential home, they might react differently than they do in a commercial location, and they might react differently in a commercial location than they do in a group setting. So what role are they coming in to fill? And what does your team do? Are they going to be good in all aspects? And if they're not good in all aspects, that's okay. But know your team's strengths and play their strengths. And if they're not good at public speaking, don't put them in front of a room full of people to public speak.
Here you go. I love metaphors and similes. Sometimes a flathead screwdriver and a butter knife can do the same thing, but it's not always going to be a good fit. So pick which one works for you.
Right.
You know, it's
right.
just a matter of who fits in.
And here's the thing that I would tell you, Roland, personally, because I know you, and I know that you question everything and you like to test everything, and I 100% understand that. I do. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't test anybody or any tool to see if your comfort level with them, but don't disregard everybody just because they say they have a gift that they can't prove. No. Because if you go back earlier in our conversation, I can't prove what I do. I can't. I can do my very best, and I can tell you things that I shouldn't know, but can I prove that I got it from a spirit? No. Can you prove to me that the EVP you caught on your digital recorder was from a spirit? No.
That's like saying if somebody's Roland, I hope you don't take offense. I'm going to use you as an example.
And I'm picking on him because I know him and I can. So anybody who thinks I'm picking on him.
I'm going to use him because I think he won't mind. If you're going to discount somebody just because they say they have gifts or a medium, that's like that man discounting your wife and refusing to talk to her. He didn't even give her a chance. There was no feeling it out. There was just
Very good point.
You're a woman, and I'm not going to deal with you. So, that's my way of.
And I think the part of that always bugs me is because I don't mind being tested. I don't mind being able to prove what I can do. But just like the spirits aren't circus monkeys, neither am I.
But neither is a pair. I'm tested all the time as a paranormal
right. Nobody can perform on demand, and especially when it takes two people to make something happen, or two spirits, two energies, whatever whatever. Exactly. How I'm going to call it two spirits because we are still spirits.
Yes, true.
It takes cooperation for both of them to make that happen. I can try to call you on the phone, Shea, to have a conversation with you, but unless you answer the phone, I can't have that conversation with you.
Exactly.
So
I judge everybody the same. I put them through the same test, whether they're mediums, not mediums, women, men, kids, adults. Yep. It's all the same to me. If you're a person, I'm not going to trust you till I get to know you. And that's, for better or worse, that's who I am.
But I absolutely say, take them with you. Get a feel for them.
Yeah.
Because even if they're the most gifted psychic in the world, even if they
it takes time, though.
90% of the time, they may just not be a good fit with the person that they're working with. They may, personality-wise, not get along with everybody on the team. Or there may just be such big conflicts personally that they can't keep working together.
Yeah, and that's a big issue.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many aspects of finding your team members. And I always think it's funny when people are just jump into pulling people into a team.
No.
I've been on teams like that where they're like, here's our new team member. It's like, whoa, hold the phone. What? No.
Like, hi, Kelly, this is Sam. Sam, this is Kelly. You're on a team together now.
He's our new blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? No, we did not discuss this. No.
Yeah.
But it's a done deal. How do you tell that poor Sam? Sorry, we didn't talk about this. Bye-bye.
See, that's where I'm working on my people skills.
Yeah, well, again, that goes back to personality conflicts within a team and control freakedness. So
Oh, I know.
Anywho.
People think I joke. I really legitimately have OCD. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's a thing. I really do. So I make so much fun of myself that people are like, ha ha ha, and I'm like, no, I really do. Like,
Well, here's the thing, and this is funny, and I know people are gonna go, well, that's just weird, because, and I say this to people, and they basically call me a liar to my face. I don't really like people. I'm
very introverted. I really am.
I can get along with people. I absolutely can. And if I get to know people, I like people. So don't get me wrong, everybody that I like, I do truly, genuinely like you. But I'm not one of these people who are like going out and seeking friends. And I don't know. So to spring somebody new on me,
yeah,
that's not a good thing always, because my instant reaction is, oh, wait a minute here, and I'm naturally gonna, if you spring somebody on me, strike one, and it's not even their fault, and they've got a strike against them. So that's a me thing, and I know that that's a me thing, and that's something I'm trying to get past, but I don't like surprises.
No, I'm the same way. Like I'm real on the radio, don't get me wrong. But if you meet me at a Paracon, I'm not going to be quite so blah, 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 blah. Unless if you talk to me, I will. But I'm not going to be like bouncing off the wall.
Well, and that's the thing, because, and we've gone to these Paracons before, and I've had people say, well, you don't go up and talk to people like you seem so comfortable talking in front, and I'm like,
yeah,
but I don't approach people to talk to them. Yeah. That's still uncomfortable for me. Yeah. So, I don't know.
All right.
We are weird little creatures, aren't we?
We are. Sorry, my dog just licked. Did you see that?
Frenchie.
She's trying to get to the microphone now.
She just wants to talk.
She does. Like, yeah. Say hi. All right. Be good. I think that was going to be one of my first questions that I was going to ask you, but we got questions right away, so I'm glad you brought that up about how we are on the radio and not. Like, yeah. I'm a whole body, believe it or not. Like, this is kind of like the drunk me at a bar, but I'm sober. But it's just, there's no, it's just, here I am, because I'm not dealing with you face to face. There's none of that feeling.
I've gotten better. I've gotten a lot better about, and the expos helped a ton with that too, because everybody knows me. And I don't always know them. So I always get people coming up like, oh, Kelly. And I'm like, hi. So I've had lots of years to get more comfortable with that.
I can't see chat right now because I have my dog in my hand and stuff. But do you feel it before and after? Because I feel when I go to Paracons, the build up to, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be in the room with all these people. And I have to like calm myself down. But the energy of after being in the room with all these people, I literally have to be like, okay, this is not me. This is the people. I literally have to talk myself down. It has nothing to do with the one-on-one, because I'm good with the one-on-one, but walking into a full room and it's overwhelming. It could be my whole family.
Right. Not so much for me, but that took a lot of practice. That's actually why I had to start learning how to manage my abilities, because I was picking up everybody else's thoughts, feelings, emotions. And so I had to learn how to protect myself at a pretty early age. And so I started building my bubble. And it used to be that I'd walk into a situation like that and go, ooh, overload, put your bubble up. And I'd have to consciously think about it. And now it's just there and I don't even have to think about it. So I'm usually pretty good. I'm very, very lucky that I don't have to work harder at it than I do.
Okay, guys. Did we miss any more questions? I
don't think so.
People were saying good night, and I said an hour. We've been on for an hour and 45 minutes now.
Oh, yeah. I told you. I did tell you.
You did. You did tell me, though. You want to give some shout-outs before we go?
Sure. All right. So, as usual, we had Miss Kim Purvis in there first. Thank you so much. And Paranormal Buzz Radio was in there. And that's what you said. You were on the wrong account. Yeah. Mama Pat and Wolf and Cynthia from Raven Rose. And then Shea got back in under her own name. And Matt was in there. And Toby Hartford was in there for a bit. I'm not sure if he's still in there or not. Miss Luna dropped in. John. I'm scrolling up through. I'm sure I'm going to miss somebody. Boop, boop, boo. Tim Schoon was in there, and if everybody can send just a little bit of healing energy towards Tim, he had some work done today on his teeth.
Teeth, right? Yeah, I thought so.
Yep. So he could use some good mojo. Miss Mallory popped in for a little bit. And Roland, of course. Thank you for all the questions, Roland. And yes, I was picking on you. I hope you still love me.
He has great questions, though.
Yeah, he does have good. And he does. I love his questions because he makes you think. And that's, they very, and he's never asking the question in a bad or derogatory way. Truly just his science brain, he wants to know these questions, and he wants to, he thinks so that. Big. Yeah, he's got amazing questions. Questions.
We could believe the same thing, and I'll debate you. Like, just to get the questions out there. Like,
oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's a lot of times, he's asking the questions just to get people to think about it, if nothing else, I think. So, yeah, I love his questions. All right, Miss Jen B did pop in there. Oh, Maureen dropped in for a little bit.
She had a great question tonight, too.
Yes, she did. I think I said Wolf already, but I can't remember. So if I did, you get a double shout out here. I think.
Mama Pat.
I think I said Mama Pat, didn't I?
I don't know. I just like saying Mama Pat.
Mama Pat. I was right on the Marky thing, too, so I'm going to have to remember to tell Marky that you called him a child so he can be mad at you all weekend. Because that's a good time. He doesn't stay mad. We were down there one time, though, and somebody said a boy of 15, and very clearly through the communication device you hear, man, I'm a man. It's like, whoa, okay. Miss Kelly Steffen dropped in under Skydoor Network.
Thank you, Kelly.
And I think that's everybody. If I missed anybody, I am so very sorry. We appreciate you being there. And there was
Cynthia, right?
I said Cynthia, yes.
Roland. Did we say Cynthia? Okay.
I think I said Cynthia, but there was a ton of chat tonight, which is always so much fun. Thank you guys always for being in chat. I have to say, chat is one of my favorite parts. So I love watching all your questions and everything you guys are putting into the conversation as well.
Don't forget, we want to come up with a new name for the chatters and then the show.
Yes. So. We forgot to ask Jen when she was in here. Pat was saying one thing that is absolutely true. She was saying the energy at the expos is something that's kind of fun to absorb. Absolutely. Yeah. If you guys have never been out to one of our expos, or maybe any expo, but ours seem to have really good energy. You walk in there and you get so pumped and you feel so good when you leave. It's like you really kind of walk out of there a little high. So, good energy. I always tell people, if you're having a bad day, come just hang out. Even if you have no money to spend, just come hang out and suck up the energy. So, all right, closing comments, Shea. We need to not forget there's things you want to say. See, I told you I'd do it. Yeah. I gotcha.
For the most part, all I have to say is tomorrow night there's a special episode of Into the Abyss with Peggy Gypsy. It wasn't scheduled, but now there's a psychic pajama party, so she'll be on 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central.
Tomorrow night?
Yeah, Saturdays. Oh. But she's
to dinner with her, so I'll have to arrange. Okay, sorry.
No, yeah, usually it's every other Saturday, but tomorrow she's doing a show, so you might want to check that out.
We'll coordinate. I'm sure she thought of it, so
yeah,
we'll figure it out.
Sunday, you know what? The Skeptic and the Psychics is Sunday, 9 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. We have Beverly Fiend on. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Thursday, I'm skipping a bunch because I now have it pre-recorded for all the upcoming shows that I will hit play on in 1 second. But Thursday is the premiere of Oh, where was I? Thursday is REP Paranormal. REP Paranormal and Friends with Kim Purvis and Allison Robinson and the REP Paranormal Busters. So check it out. The rest, I'm going to hit play in a minute when Kelly's done talking.
Yeah, I was going to say, just for any cross listeners who listen to my Wednesday show as well, but wasn't able to tune in then, there will not be a Realm Walkers show next Wednesday. Charlotte normally runs everything in the background, and she needs to take that night off. So we'll be taking a Wednesday off, but we will be back on the 27th with the Realm Walker, and we will have Gina of Prismscapes Gems and Healings, and she'll be talking about all the different crystals and their properties and how to use them in crystal grids and all sorts of fun stuff. So just in case we have any cross listeners.
And if anybody listens to Kelly's show and is not sure on the chat thing, because I confused myself, just message her, because once she explains it, it's easy to do, and their chat is so fun. Blog Talk Radio, of course, Girls vs. Coast Media on Wednesdays. But yeah, I screwed myself there, but I figured
and the chat is a little, Blog Talk Radio chat is a little, we have to remember to turn it on, I think, as part of it, and then it's a little inconsistent then too. But I always try to watch, there's a chat box and there's a comment section, and I try to watch them. So I try. But I can't swear that I keep up all the time.
You do good, especially for having the two chats. But once you get into the chat, it's easy. So it's the same thing with Spreaker. Once you learn it, you learn it.
Absolutely. So. Yep. Absolutely. So.
All right, guys. Now that our show has now been 2 hours, it was a great show, though. We had fun.
This was fun.
It was fun.
And you guys can be thinking all month about questions you want to ask us next month when we do our show like this.
Oh, yeah. It's I think it's towards the end of March, though, that we're going to do the show, because we're pretty booked. Or it's the 8th. I'll announce it. It's either the 8th or the end of the month.
Maybe we'll take March off and start in April. Who knows?
Do you know how many show banners I do? Not even. I do show banners for other networks. Never mind this one alone. I don't know how I remember what I remember.
Oh.
So, all right, guys. Good night. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
We will see you Sunday. I will see you Sunday, and we will see.
I'll be in New York on Sunday, so you guys have fun.
Yeah.
Don't say that with attitude. I'm going to have
jealous.
Fun. I'm excited.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see the live feeds, but
I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best.
All right. I'll be a little busy anyway, so. All right, guys. Good night. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.
Night, everyone.
Thank you for listening. Paranormal Buzz Radio is live only on Spreaker. You can also find us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitchers, and Spotify. Here is your winter and spring show lineup for 2019. Every Sunday night, The Skeptic and the Psychic with Shea Carroll and Psychic Gen B, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Every other Monday, B Squared Magic Monday with Briddy and Benji, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Central, 5:30 Pacific. Coming March 11th, every alternate Monday will be Origin with Benji and Matt, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, 5:30 Pacific. Coming February 21st, every Thursday night, REP Paranormal and Friends with Kim and Allison and the rest of the REP Paranormal Buster gang. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Friday night, Shay's Paranormal Chat with Shea Carroll and Kelly McCarville. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Saturday nights, Into the Abyss with Peggy Gypsy, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. To find out more about Paranormal Buzz Radio, check out our website at paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram.